contradicting you, Stephen. I think you do got something. Maybe not plenty something, but you got something. You know? I think we all agree, right? So friends, we'll proceed into another aspect of the agenda. Of course, these messages that we have that we'll be discussing from the Universal House of Justice are designed to help us think about the achievements so far in the plan and to contemplate our services for the months ahead. So it's appropriate to spend a few minutes now talking about, in a little greater specificity, what is going on in the southern states and also in the Bahamas, so that we'll have a more concrete sense of what has been achieved and what the goals are between now and Reswan 2009. So to that end, we'll invite first a member of the National Spiritual Assembly of the Bahamas, Patricia Newton-Josie, to make a presentation about developments in that country.
I'm glad I'm a soldier. I got the word that is right for now. I'm the road that is right.
Greetings from the believers in the Bahamas. I have been asked to provide a brief outline of the goal of the Bahamas, the name of the priority cluster, an outline of its history and our present situation. The goal of the Bahamas is to launch an intensive program of growth by Reswan 2009. Pray for us. The name of the priority cluster is the Rabani cluster, which consists of 6 islands. However, within the cluster, we have 2 priority localities, New Providence and Grand Bahama. The history and present situation is the National Spiritual Assembly, with the guidance of Councillor Vargas, turned its agenda upside down and placed teaching at the top of the agenda. We were exhorted to read, study, and put in an obedience and put into action the guidance. In July of 2008, Councillor Vargas and the National Spiritual Assembly and members of the community of New Providence did a collective teaching activity, after which the National Spiritual Assembly decided to have collective teaching in the morning at its monthly administrative meeting. And in the afternoon, we would have the administration, which we have done consistently and systematically. The Assembly collaborates with the auxiliary board members meeting of the members of the local spiritual assembly of New Providence and ourselves. We focused on one area where some believers reside. The collective teaching is systematic and has been sustained. We have set a rhythm and found a receptive population through action. Our challenge is moving this receptive population to enter the Institute process, to increase momentum and energy for our way forward. For the teachers in the field of teaching to integrate crucial survey questions into casual conversations so that we can become more informed of what this receptive population needs and to serve their children and junior youth. To overcome our fear of no, we can't, to yes, we can. We have not figured out a way of feeding off each other's momentum in each priority locality owing to our island nation. We need to learn how to match capacities of receptive population with the tutors and teachers. We need more commitment to the plan and widen our core nucleus of believers. We need more understanding of the quarterly cycles and the three components of expansion, consolidation, and reflection. We need short-term resource persons in these two localities. So welcome to the Bahamas. And I'd like Katrina, who is our national statistician, to share with you the stats on the cluster growth profile. And thank you very much.
Good morning, friends. I'm not going to give you all our information, but what we found with statistics is that first it's kind of going to optometrist's office when they put those lenses in your eyes and you go, it's Arabic. And then we couldn't find the raw candy. And then we found a little and we were really excited because then we thought, oh, it's not Arabic. But we still couldn't see, which line we needed to read. So the optometrists, who are our counselors and our auxiliary board members, kept saying, is it A or B? Which one is clearer? And because we were so, I think, we wanted to please, we kept saying, oh, that's really clear. And then they would go away and we would be like, what is that? It's Arabic, And we would try to help each other, but we were like the blind helping the blind. So then they'd watch us muddling around, they'd come back and they'd change the glass and they'd say, is this clear, is that clear? And we were like, oh yeah, it's good. And we still, anyway, to cut a long story short, last week, we've been doing things, now we actually just do things like our friend who went to Egypt, I think. And last week, the counselor and his wife and our auxiliary board members held a seminar for us to awaken our love for teaching. And we looked at the stats and we were very depressed because we had numbers and we thought they were really bad. So anyway, Counselor Vargas says, wait, tell me this number again. How many Baha'is are involved in core activities and how many non-Baha'is? And we only had a total number, so it looked very small. But it turns out that we have a ratio of almost 3 to 1 non-Baha'is to Baha'i attendance. Last week we were like, I guess that means I have to finish up. So last week we suddenly had this kind of like, he said, you're doing excellent. We're like, wow, we are? So then we were happy to be here to be able to share that with you. But we really need to multiply it. And I think what we need is a lot of prayers. So, you know, in this paper where it shows there are 19 priority clusters, we're right here, number 20, right off the coast of Florida. So when you pray for your 19, please pray for us. And if you have a sabbatical of, 2 weeks to 3 months or 6 months, please consider coming to the Bahamas and helping us, because we're ready. And we just, now we can kind of understand the Arabic, and we need like super translators to speed us forward. But most of all, we need your prayers and for the continued and increased ownership of every believer for the plan. We really need that because we have the human resources. They're just not activated. We're not moving targets yet, and so the concourse on Maui can't really find us. The eagle. And so we ask for your prayers. Our full details, we can share that with anyone who's interested. But basically, we are B, we really like to get to an A, and we have 5 months. Thank you.
Just want to say one more thing. When we were in Antigua, at the Caribbean conference several years ago, my daughter and we all met Rebecca Murphy, God rest her soul. And I'd like her to just share something as we leave the stage.
Rebecca had taught us about this girl named Manu May somewhere in Africa, and she taught us a song. I don't know if anyone else knows it, but she taught us, Manu May, oh Manu May, Bahai Manu May Maku. So my mom wanted just for me to share that with everybody, because as soon as I got the information that she had passed, that's the first thing that popped in my mind, and I just started singing it. And so maybe we wanted to lead off singing, Manu May, oh Manu May, Bahai Manu May Maku. And basically she said it meant that Manu May had just become a Baha'i, and the village children, when she'd either come or leave, would be telling her, Manu May, you're now a Baha'i, so you must be good. So, all of us must be good, so Manu May.
Thank you very much. My first international teaching trip, I undertook at 16, and it was to Grand Bahama Island along with my brother and a few others. That was like 10 years ago now, so it's been quite a long time since then. But it was one of the most meaningful experiences of my life, and now these friends from the Bahamas remind me why that was the case. What a beautiful presentation that was. Most of us are gathered here from the 11 of the southern states in the District of Columbia. Of course, until quite recently, these comprised part of the southern region, which now has been divided into two new regions with 2 new councils. We're going to invite the former secretary of the Regional Baha'i Council of the Southern States, Dr. Mahir Mufidi, to make a presentation on these states. And incidentally, he 2 days ago was elected secretary of the new Regional Baha'i Council of the Southeastern States. So Dr. Mufidi, please.
Good morning. I bring you the love of the newly formed Regional Baha'i Council of the Southeastern States and its profound gratitude for everything that has been done to advance the 5-year plan. In every part of this spiritually receptive region of the South, whether Southeast or South Central, there are stories of service in response to the needs of the plan. Increasingly, people are teaching in a variety of settings, firesides, neighborhood teaching, through core activities, starting new core activities, supporting existing ones, and populating these activities with seekers. And as a result, more and more people from all walks of life are embracing the faith, and our communities are changing. We all have stories, we've heard them, we've participated in them. One from a couple of weeks ago from right here in Atlanta is an example of what we're capable of when we trust all of this will work. After training on direct teaching, the teaching team arrived at an apartment complex to share the message of Baha'u'llah. As they walked toward the building, they felt worried that they would not be able to do it. So they returned to the car to pray, asked for divine assistance, and asked Baha'u'llah to guide them to those souls he has prepared to hear his message. After the prayers, the team walked toward the building and noticed a woman and wondered if she might be the one Baha'u'llah would like them to teach. As the team attempted to introduce themselves, they realized she did not speak English. But she did say, "Son, son," as she pointed to two young men. One of the two men was her son. After explaining who they were and why they were there, the teaching team was invited to the home, where they gave a systematic presentation on the faith. In the middle of the presentation, two new people walked in. The teaching team asked if they would like to hear about the Baha'i faith. They said yes. Throughout the presentation, the listeners asked a number of questions and frequently said, "There is only one God, and we do need to come together in unity." At the end of the presentation, all five were invited to embrace the faith. Three accepted, including the older lady, the mother who was the first person the team met. As the team prepared to leave, the new believer said to them, "Please don't forget us." We are so happy. We like this message. This is the best day of our lives. Teaching stories such as this, in which people hear Baha'u'llah's name and receive a systematic presentation of his basic teachings, then immediately recognize this as truth, are coming from every part of the South. People are waiting, people are ready, and our numbers are increasing. In Washington, D.C., where I live, two teachers gave a direct teaching presentation to a woman in her home. They had made an appointment with her previously, and when they came, she was ready for them with lots of questions. At the end, after the teachers and the woman said a prayer together, she too was invited. And you know what she said? She told them, "All my life, I knew this was true. I knew there was one God, and that we all one. And finally today, I know this is from Baha'u'llah. I'm a Baha'i. This is what I've been all my life." Her attraction to the beauty of the faith and her thirst for knowledge, wanting to know more so she could, again in her own words, tell everybody, "I know about this," led her to easily accept the idea of beginning right away to study Book 1, Reflection on the Life of the Spirit. Within a short period, she completed Book 1, and before beginning Book 2, she spent some sessions studying what we're calling Anna's presentation, which has enabled her to more effectively teach the people asking her about faith. In this and other cases, it is possible to see what happens next after people enter the faith. They begin to study the sequence of courses, and right away, they're teaching their family and friends, sharing prayers, participating. There's a seamless connection between accepting Baha'u'llah and beginning to share his message with others and participating in activities that we know contribute to building community life. As we review what has happened since April 2006, we see we're not the same people we were back then. We're not the same individuals, we're not the same communities, we're not the same institutions. We are teaching more, and as a result of this effective teaching, we are growing. In fact, in the last 2.5 years, the number of people entering the faith has grown by over 200%. Something else that is happening is that we're developing the ability to initiate and sustain the core activities, study circles, devotional meetings, children's classes, junior youth groups. Each of these activities has increased significantly since the start of the 5-year plan. Another encouraging development has been the ability to look outside of the Baha'i community and to attract people to these 4 core activities. The number of seekers, as you can see, engaged in the portals for entry by troops has gone up dramatically as well, thanks to all of you. For example, participants in the neighborhood children's classes who are friends of the Baha'is, by this I mean children in addition to the Baha'i children in our children's classes, has increased by over 400%. These neighborhood children's classes and junior youth empowerment groups are changing the lives of the young people and also are proving to be a solid foundation for teaching the cause. In Savannah, Georgia, a number of parents of these children and junior youth were approached, and after receiving direct presentation on the faith, they accepted Baha'u'llah. A heartwarming story related to neighborhood children's class comes from the small cluster of Southampton roads that includes Virginia Beach. One of the Baha'is saw an advertisement on a bulletin board at a local college looking for a babysitter. She called and spoke to a mother of 5 children. The mother told her that she actually did not need a babysitter, as an advertisement had been there for over 2 years. The mother detected an accent, and when she found out that this Baha'i friend was Chinese, she was so happy, she was so delighted, because she has adopted 2 children from China. The mother invited the Baha'i friend to meet her in a few days and asked her if she'd be willing to teach her children art, Chinese, or something. This Baha'i, delighted at this woman's genuine interest and also eager to contribute to the growth of her cluster, grabbed the opportunity to tell her that she's doing a service in many different neighborhoods by teaching children's classes on spiritual qualities. The mother said, "Great, come on over and we'll talk on Thursday." Well, Thursday came and they spoke for almost 2 hours. And when the faith was mentioned, the mother said, "You would not believe this. My best friend is a Baha'i." The 2 women connected. The mother asked her Baha'i friend if she would like to teach her children Chinese or something else. The Baha'i friend told her that providing spiritual education for children would make her heart most happy. And then showed her book 3, children's class material. The mother asked whether our Baha'i friend would accept more children, as her friends might be interested too. Now this Baha'i was thinking to herself, what could be better for our community, for these children and their families, than Baha'i children's classes? And also on the top of her mind, like our friends from Bahamas, was that we need to become an intensive program of growth soon. So of course she told her, yes, as many children as possible. And the mother asked if 10 children, 10, would be too many. To which this Baha'i said, "I think that's a perfect number." Isn't this a nice story? Here's an example of one individual initiative on the part of a person with a clear vision not only of the need for the growth in her cluster, but also a sense of urgency to act. There are now 11 children in this neighborhood children's class. Now, none of these little ones are Baha'is yet, though 2 of the parents are serving as assistant teachers, and that's 2 new human resources that the cluster has now. And there's no doubt that all of the parents, as they see the influence of this class on their children, hear the prayers, the songs, observe their children's actions, will become drawn to the faith and will be a new population of people to teach. This is growth, this is building community. Now, along with this growth and augmented ability to carry out core activities and to attract people, the content and the quality of our conversations have changed, have evolved. We're developing a common discourse, a common vision on growth. We're talking about spiritual enterprise. We're having conversations and meetings that are based on experience in reaching to receptive populations, experience in reaching large numbers of people, experience in effectively consolidating new believers, experience in developing human resources, experience on accompanying each other in the field of action. What we talk about is not theoretical, it is not abstract. Instead, we talk about what we're doing, analyzing and learning from experience, and adjusting action based on what we have learned together. We're then able to make concrete plans, building on what has come before, and making use of existing resources. We plan for a 3-month cycle of growth, regardless of the stage of the development of our clusters, carry out these plans, reflect on how things have gone, and we do it all over again. And as we grow, we learn how to improve the process. We're getting better at it. With a clear and systematic approach such as this, we see that greatly advancing the process of entry by troops is no longer something just to think about as a possibility, that it is in fact happening. A thrilling development stemming from the growth in size and augmented resources has been the capacity to initiate intensive programs of growth. The goal for the southern region is 75 during this 5-year plan. At the start of the plan, there were 16 intensive programs of growth. In the south, there are now 33. This means we have another 42 clusters to advance. Now, in terms of our immediate goals, by Rizwan of 2009, April 2009, the number of intensive programs of growth that need to be initiated in the 2 newly created regions that are represented at this conference are, for South Central, 9 clusters coming from Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida, and the goal for the Southeastern region is 10. The Universal House of Justice expects this from us, and we must deliver. We can do this. The numbers showing how we've grown are no surprise, and they should not be. Abdu'l-Baha told us about the South. He knows the South. He knows us. He saw potential in us. His vision for us is to raise his father's word among the masses. Referring to the southern states, in the tablets of the divine plan, Abdu'l-Baha says, unquestionably, the divine teachings must reveal themselves with a brighter effulgence. The breaths of the Holy Spirit must display a penetrating intensity. The ocean of the love of God must be stirred with higher waves. The breezes of the rose garden of the divine love be wafted with higher velocity, and the fragrances of holiness be diffused with swiftness and rapidity. Whatever has been done up to now, whatever level of intensity, we can do more, and we will do more, because this is the South, and Abdu'l-Baha told us that we could do it. Brighter effulgence, higher waves, swiftness, and rapidity. So as we can see, it has been a very encouraging 2.5 years. Things are changing, we are growing, we we are teaching. There are a lot of new human resources. There are a lot of more core activities. And it's not only the numbers that have changed, but the quality of things has changed as well. We're learning what community looks like by building it together, shoulder to shoulder. Those who recognize Baha'u'llah a few days ago, a few years ago, a few decades ago, whose families have been in the faith for generations, everyone together with seekers, exploring together how to build community life. This growth, increased human capacity, increased activities, increased outward-looking orientation is part of a spiritual enterprise, part of the inevitable movement of humanity towards Baha'u'llah. Everyone is on a path towards Baha'u'llah, and we have this sacred, priceless opportunity to tell them who Baha'u'llah is and to invite them to be Baha'is. The framework for action that has been given by the Universal House of Justice works as long as we trust it and take action. We're here to celebrate our victories, our achievements, and also to look ahead with the guidance from the Universal House of Justice about what we need to do to not only advance clusters by Rizwan 2009, but also how each one of us will take responsibility to make this world a better place by teaching his cause. To assist me is to teach my cause. We're grateful to have Mrs. Rachel Ndegwa and Mr. Stephen Berglund, council members of the International Teaching Center, with us as representatives of the Universal House of Justice. As a region, we are looking forward to these 2 days. We want to advance and be able to deliver on the supreme body of our faith. By April Rizwan 2009, 19 intensive programs of growth, and our commitment to make teaching the dominant passion of our lives. Thank you.
Thank you again to the friends from the Bahamas, as well as to our friend Mahyar for that wonderful report from the South. You know, I know it's supposed to be a world citizen, and I wasn't going to say anything, but bless my soul, I'm so proud to be a Southerner when I hear the reports of the progress that's going on in the States. Well, friends, we do have a workshop session coming up, and before I get to the logistics of it, just a few things. It's appropriate, of course, that because we'll be spending, no doubt, the next several months contemplating the wonderful message of October 20th, as well as the one from the House of Justice addressed to us today for this conference, that we also take time during the conference itself to read and to contemplate these messages and think about their implications for our services. So the workshop that's coming up after the break will be devoted to that purpose, to reading and discussion of these two very important messages, which of course again will help to set the stage when we begin to address the means by which we will achieve the goals in the coming months. But first, just a few announcements. A reminder to the auxiliary board members and the presenters that after the workshop session ends, which will be at 12:30, please go to the Authority Boardroom. Sounds pretty impressive. The Authority Boardroom for your meeting with the counselors. Go down the stairs or escalator to level 4, turn to your right, and follow the signs to the boardroom. And your box lunches have been set up in that room, so you don't have to go where everyone else is going. But for the rest of us, at 12:30, box lunches will be served in the registration hall. And that's the large area behind the main information registration desk on the main lobby level. So as you leave your workshop, ushers will direct you to registration hall. You'll be able to find your way. Now there's very limited seating in registration hall, so you may want to take your lunch. If it's not too cold, you may want to take it outside or just come here in the ballroom, and that's fine. If you want to, you can also purchase lunch from any of the nearby restaurants, but please keep in mind that there are also many people attending the Southeast Championship football game today. No doubt you noticed that. And also, there's another event taking place here at the Congress Center. So we don't know what the crowds will be like, and you may want to take that under advisement. If you have a translation headset, please return it to the same table where it was issued to you on your way to the workshop, and you can pick up one again just before you come back to the plenary session this afternoon. The afternoon session will begin promptly at 2 p.m. here at the ballroom, so please arrange to be here on time. And parents who have young children who would like to hear the plenary sessions but feel that their youngsters may need a break from sitting in this hall, please feel free to sit with them in rooms B301 and B302, which have been set up for children. Now, let's go through the logistics of the workshops. We have a 30-minute break. I believe we're about on schedule. We have a 30-minute break, and this is what we'll do. The friends who are on the extreme sides of the ballroom, that is to say, on the extreme left and the extreme right of the ballroom, please stay where you are for the moment, even when break is called. Just stay where you are. Ushers and facilitators will assist you to create a number of smaller groups inside the ballroom for the study of the October 20 and December 6th messages. But if you need to move around or get a drink of water, after a few minutes you're welcome to do so. But then, as quickly as possible, please return to the ballroom for your study group. Now those of you in the large middle section, that is to say, this section here going down the middle, and also this section going down the middle, will be ushered out of the ballroom. Well, actually, no, you'll just make your way out of the ballroom, and this is how it will work. This section here will go to the rooms on the 3rd level, and this section on this side will go to the rooms on the 4th level of the building. So 3rd level and 4th level. When you reach those levels, there will be ushers to direct you to the rooms that have available space. The way we'll do it is we'll fill from the back of the hall. So as the rooms fill, the door will be closed, and ushers will then direct you to the next available room, fill that one up, and so on and so forth. So please pay attention to what the ushers are directing you to do, and we can fill them up as quickly as possible. Keeping in mind that we only have about an hour for the workshop session, and we want to begin promptly at 11:30 a.m. So friends, please enjoy your brief break and your workshop, and we will see you back here at 2 this afternoon. Thank you.